Hello, Maria.
Live. I'm trying to share something.
I went to Juba, South.
The first civilization to take Africans out.
All right. Thank you so much for those who are just joining us here on our live. Africa Maria, the darkest berry. Of course, with my colleague Dwight Davidson. That's why you laughing. I'm not putting my camera on because apparently I'm trying to see what to play out to. Apparently, of course, we have electricity issues here, and that's why I'm unable to, of course, join or in with my video on. All right. And of course, I'm so grateful to, of course, host you, Dwight Davidson, or Eugene,
Right.
on
Okay.
this show of mine. It's always a pleasure having you join me.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
It's always a
We
pleasure
should
to be
jump.
on the show with you.
Yeah, true, true. All right, we are going to jump right into our topic. Our topic may be a little bit controversial, depending on how people perceive Africa, because our topic today is Africa isn't poor, but the mind is. We've seen a lot of Africans trying so very much to prove to the rest of the world that Africa isn't poor. They
Hmm.
go ahead and take videos of different good places, different tourist sites, different areas, just to prove that Africa is not only all about the grass thatched houses and the people living in the wilderness, but to a place that is probably having, good infrastructure and so on. To me, actually, I believe the infrastructure is just something that is something that meets the eyes. As much as probably people measure that as wealth or wealth or a country
Right.
to be rich, I feel like there is more to what people usually see. It is true that Africa is a continent that is rich in minerals. Dwight, you know very well, not long ago, Uganda discovered gold. You keep on telling me this. It has oil, not only gold and oil, but it also has some diamond. It also has uranium. It
Right.
has a lot of minerals. And this this alone should let us understand that Uganda is not poor because it has all these minerals. Because Congo isn't poor because it has all those minerals. The same goes to South Africa. The same goes to very many, because apparently
Hello.
there is no African country that has no resources. There is no African country that has no mineral resources. Now, the point is, where do the resources go? Do we, the Africans, do we, the people
Right.
on the
Right.
continent, know that we have those minerals? Do we know which mineral,
Mm.
how much does a kilo, or how much does the mineral, no matter how small the quantity of that mineral cost? Now, there is a lot of ignorance. There is a lot of ignorance involving what Africans have. This is why we have introduced this topic that Africa isn't poor, but the mind is. Many times, of course, we are ignorant to one. Even if you are to ask, I personally, you may ask me the price of diamond, and I really don't know. I can't tell. I don't know how much a kilo of diamond sells. I've even never seen an original diamond before. So when people talk about Africa's minerals, why don't we involve ourselves in these resources? Because we feel like they are far-fetched facts.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like, okay, so we have gold. Now what? We have been put in a position that the only wealth we need is food. That okay, when you talk about rice, all right, I'm gonna understand rice. When the price of rice hikes, everybody's striking, and we don't know. All we think about is food because this is the position, and this is how Africa has been designed recently.
Right.
Dwight, if you follow history, you will know that in Africa, people were rich. You would find a man wearing gold jewelry from head to toe. And that is how they would show their, rich, they would show their wealth. Someone would have cattle. You find someone has a, a lot of farmlands with everything now. It is quite different. First of all, Africa being called the
Mm-hmm.
food basket, we are also starving. Now, last time I remember, usually not even once, not twice, you always keep on asking me, what happened to the gold that Uganda discovered?
Right.
Why are you going through that yet you have oil? Why are you going through that yet you have gold? I don't even think. I don't
Right.
even think
Right.
that gold. It is very weird that you feel like I have the right to know about this gold, but I'm being kept in the dark. Now, it is very important for Africans to be kept ignorant about the wealth they have so that no one should wake up and fight or demand. If you don't know about something, you are
Right.
not going
Right.
to demand about it. If you have never seen something, you will not even talk about it. Because most Africans, they only see the fake gold. You have bought jewelry that is fake with gold and all that. And that is where their love for gold ends. You get? But anyway, I'm still gonna pose this question to you, Eugene. And the question I'm gonna ask is what do you think has kept the Africans poor? Because I know you think Africans are poor. Why do you think a lot of Africans don't even care? Why do you think? Because who doesn't want to be rich? Who doesn't want to be able to take care of their family
Well,
without
but
someone? Mm, go ahead.
Well, the all right. Well, it's part of the neo-colonial system or colonial system. Now it's neo-colonial that the riches of Africa, well, the riches of Africa are sent overseas to Europe, to America, and now even to Asia to be turned into, say, value added to turn into product and then sold around the world. So the profit goes to the rich man in Europe, America, to the puppet government leaders in Africa, where but the common people of Africa, who many times can't afford the product, I call them oligarchs in Africa, who large businesses, or they work in the government, and whereas the common people are left out of that loop, scrounging around trying to find a job, trying to scratch out a living on the small farm. So this has been going on since Europe first invaded Africa back in the 17, 1800s. And now, so I call Africa the mining pit of the world. It's a mining pit. Okay. They come in, they mine the resources and truck them out to the coast and ship them overseas. So Africa is a mining pit for America and Europe. Now China trying to get their cut. So that's what's happening. Now, the goals, uh, I believe that your uh, using it as leverage made Uganda a partner of BRICS because BRICS is trying to develop its own currency backed by gold. So if he can go to Xi Jinping and Putin and say, hey, I got $12 trillion worth of gold. I can contribute that to back the new BRICS currency. Just make Uganda that purpose. Okay? That's one reason why he's holding it back. Another reason is, of course, the people at the top are trying to find ways to get their big chunk and cut before anything happens. To bamboozle or fool or get their big chunk of that 12 trillion without the people knowing what's going on. So those are the two reasons why the gold is being discussion about that gold is being held back. Okay? They're trying to figure out how to get their cut off the top, and they're trying to use it to get a full partnership in BRICS. And therefore, it's not at this time. It's not being utilized to help the common people and the economy of Uganda. And the oil, well, they're supposed to start selling the oil in 2026. What I read, Now, but what happens to the profits from that? What kind of jobs are going to be created? I don't know. We have to see. But the problem is the money does not flow down broad and wide to the common people in the country. Okay, it's always hogged by the people at the top. Right, so that's why I say Africa is a mining pit. So, but it's you talked about people in the past wearing gold. Well, we can talk over in West Africa, Mansa Musa. Yeah, he was supposed to be the richest man in history. Him or either Solomon, but Mansa Musa supposedly went on a pilgrimage to Mecca. He was a Muslim, so he went on a pilgrimage to Mecca, and he's supposed to have left so much gold on in his path that it caused inflation all the way across North Africa as he traveled uh, over to Mecca and back. Okay, so but I bet if you look at his society back then, even then you had slavery and you had poor people in his society. So it's always a problem. It's always a problem with this. That's why you can be rich and still have poor people in your society because you're not spreading the wealth around.
Mm.
Okay, that's why I'm not out jumping. That's why I'm not out jumping for joy about uh, priority in uh, Burkina Faso and Goita and Mali and I forgot the man's name in Niger. And you know, if you are not
Yeah.
setting up programs where you're going to make sure that your farmers, your workers, if you're not setting a program, make sure your farmers and workers are going to benefit from the wealth of your country, then it's going to end up where you're exploiting your people just like the Europeans and Americans have. So I'm just sitting, I'm watching and seeing what's going on in West Africa. Okay. And I'm not just saying, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but, the problem lies to me in the homes and in the schools of these countries. These homes, the parents and the school teachers need to be teaching their children and their students morality and anti-greed, anti-selfishness, and serving your society, spreading out the wealth and not trying to be Mr. Big Shot, okay? Not trying to be Mr. Big Shot and take everything for yourself. That's what needs to be taught. So that when these people grow up and they participate in whatever, in a democracy, or even if they take over in a coup, their mentality is to serve their people, their citizens, and not to sit up there and absorb all the wealth that they can't even use. Okay? So I'm not familiar with the African schools and what's taught in Africa, in the homes that much. But when you have a situation where you got a parliament in almost every part, I have never seen one corrupt president get impeached. And I know they have an impeachment clause because they modeled the constitutions after the American and the European constitution. So, but they don't ever impeach anybody. They never attempt to remove a president through the Constitution. They're bought off or they are ethnically allied with their president. They're the same tribe or they getting money or both. Why are the children not being raised up to learn, hey, you're not here to serve yourself. You're here to serve your country and the people and make everybody prosperous. And with all these Christians running around all over Africa, that should be no problem to teach that. All these
True.
so-called Christians.
True.
Yeah. We see the leaders of these African countries going to church. The leaders of these African countries talking about church and Jesus and God, and they still ruling like dictators, and they still uh, having the people starve, and but they run the church on Sunday. So we it's a human character problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bravery problem. Okay, so it's character. Teach these people, these young people in school. Hey, it's not about being rich. It's about making sure everybody is doing well. So the whole school system need to be need to be reinvigorated with teaching these kids in Africa. Hey, you're a citizen. A citizen means you're supposed to serve your other citizens, not try to be Mister, not try to be Mansa Musa number 4. Okay, but that's what's going on. Everybody, you got Dangote in Nigeria. All these other people, the woman, the man, the woman, the billionaire in Angola. She can't even go back to Angola because she ripped off so much money. Santos, his daughter. Okay, this is what's going on. Everybody wants to be Mansa Musa, and like I always say, you got too much. Everybody wants to be king, but the Europeans were able to come in. The Europeans got rid of their kings a long time they they knew that the king they might still be a symbol. And then we got we got all these churches. Where churches, but you got corruption. Thou shalt not steal, but thou shalt not steal. One of the 10 Commandments. You got all these churches all over Nigeria, and I was reading. I was looking at Professor Lumumba's show before we came on the air, and somebody in the comment section was saying, "Yeah, if we could get rid of the corruption, especially in Nigeria, we wouldn't have as much crime in Africa." So you know, I'm saying that we need, Africa needs uh,
My network
revamping the whole
going to
education system and the churches. So, but the network is going in and out. Hello?
Yeah, it's back and
Hello, Maria.
forth.
Hello? And, and what?
My network is not stable. I think that's why you are taking time to hear my voice message. Um,
Hello?
I don't know. I really don't know. But of course, I'm using my phone. Uh,
Right. Right.
I guess that could be the reason why my network is very low.
Right. Well, well, we've almost done 30 minutes, so um, but anyway, I was gonna bring talk about a lot of different things, but yeah, Africa is rich, but the mind isn't. Africa isn't poor, but the mind is. So yeah, Africa needs to come up with some new ideas, new institutions, or reinvigorate the schools, the families, with the kids, the children being taught, so they have a whole the Gen Z, the old barriers, but the generation behind Gen Z hello, Maria.
I'm not even I don't get your
Hello.
audios. This is
We might want to end this live because we're not communicating. But
hello.
hello, can you hear me now?
I hear you. My God, you're
Can you
gone.
hear me? Yeah, I hear you saying hello, but but it sounds like an echo. Okay, what? I'm
Yes,
here. I'm here.
you now.
I think we need to end. We need to end this live because and try to come back when your electricity is back on. All right. Hello? Okay, we need to end the live, I think. And then